much information though. So a little bit relaxation, probably talking with you all and sharing some goodies. We will all feel relaxed. I hope people come to my room and then they learn something, they gain some information, or they have a chance to contribute what they think is useful for everybody and go home happily. Right? That's what I'm hoping to achieve. I was up in the morning and something came to my mind. I wrote it down, and there is a new TikTok feature. I'm not usually active on the TikTok, excuse me, but this morning somebody showed me a good new feature, which was like you just write the text and then you leave it to the algorithm. It will make like a sound and all that, and that was very good. Very simple to do and all. Excuse me. So I wrote few lines on stress relief. It goes like this. Um, your blood pressure usually goes up when you are stressed, right? So I kind of got a mnemonic, and after the mnemonic, these five are really embedded. BPKGS, right? The B stands for um, breathe deeply, right? And then P stands for be in the present moment awareness. And K stands for be kind to some random person you encounter during the day. G stands for be grateful for what you have. And S stands for just simply smile as many times as possible during the day and feel good about yourself because they really release endorphins when you smile a lot, right? Of course, there is the laughter yoga that's different. So I'm going to run a room tomorrow with social with Rocky. I promise. Then I will do a couple of times a week in their house, right? So I made friends with them. So I'm going to go and talk to them about this. Maybe elaborate all of them. So that's something I want to share. What happens if you deep breathe, how many times you have to breathe, and what are the physiological mechanisms, how does it affect the mind, and all that, right? Then you can also, how can you be present all the time? How is that you cannot reach out to the past or to reach out to the future? It's not that, but it is basically bringing our attention to what we are doing here and now, and then be really aware of our circumstances, our people around us, and that kind of thing, right? And then, uh, of course, being kind to somebody, it can be something natural, or you want to deliberately exhibit that. You want to be kind to yourself and kind to other people too. And if you are satisfied with what you have, or if you are grateful with what you have, you already start with the point of your abundance rather than you don't have something, right? And of course, the smile is a very simple thing. Okay, I was going to expand on these things a little bit more. That will be good for them in the morning. So that's how I woke up. Then I think Eminem and Prissy Lee. These are the two ladies. They introduced this TikTok new feature to me yesterday, and I did do the uh, texting and then put it to music right there when they showed me how to do that. It's very simple, really. So I did two videos, I think, but basically I texted the what I felt, simple things, and then it took it up and then put it to music of its own. You can change the music according you want. So I kind of detected there are choices of music there. So I selected some of them and they rhymed very well. So that was the good thing. And then Jay came to me this morning. Yeah, I can do that. That's a very simple thing, right? So I did that. I will be probably doing one in the morning every day because it's so simple. You can also you can also really use the you can also use the chat GPT to make your text and put it to music right there. Hi Blaze, how are you? I have not seen my friend Blaze. I'm going to invite her up. She's somebody I've seen her. Hi Blaze, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Raul. I'm doing great. I just saw you had a room and I thought I would pop in to say hello. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, Blaze. It's about time you showed up to me. Yeah, yeah, Blaze and me are good friends, and we haven't seen each other. Blaze done a good meditation room, so I used to go there, but of late I could not go. So how have you been? What is going on with you?
Well, I'm doing good. I've been busy doing work in my area, so I haven't been on Clubhouse as much as I would like to.
Yeah.
I'm there about one or twice a week,
Okay.
but I'm doing really good. I'm busy working and helping people.
Okay. Are you meditating every day? And you used to do that quite a bit.
Yes, I'm no longer doing the meditation every day on Clubhouse.
Okay.
I'm doing Zoom meditations and in-person classes,
Hmm.
and I'm also teaching at the YMCA on Monday evenings.
Okay, very good.
So
Hmm.
yeah, so it has been so now I use my morning to sneak in and do my own personal meditation before I leave for work. But I do a Monday night meditation and a Wednesday meditation on
Okay.
Clubhouse.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I do these rooms every day nowadays. I have three different houses, but mostly the docs and burnout. I was doing for the burnout of everybody, but focusing on the doctors and the IT professionals and leaders and all that. Uh, Today, I'm kind of talking about that. What are the five simple things that you can do to really conquer stress in your life? So I don't know whether you are here in the beginning when I mentioned the five of them. The first one is the deep breathing. Everybody knows that, but I put these five measures for a room I'm going to do tomorrow for social with Rocky. And I think around 9 o'clock my time, Central Time, in the morning. So I kind of came up with this five in the morning, and I was telling them it's a new TikTok feature where you can type in the text and then it will play the music and it becomes a video altogether. So I thought that was easy, even though I have a lot of videos there. I never posted many videos on the TikTok. Somehow that is got neglected. I have big videos though. I make them very much now, and they're according to the topic. Even on this burnout, also I made several videos. I posted some of them here. But today I was going to explore those five easy measures that we can do to relieve the stress. I kind of ask physicians to do that because they are kind of stressed out, and I want them to do at least 1 minute an hour to do the deep breathing. So that's the first thing I always suggest anybody: breathe deeply, and really you will feel the benefits of it because it does act on the vagus nerve. It does on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is like a rest and digest system. So it kind of encounters the sympathetic overload which we have because we are imagining so many dangers all day, right? And the second one is being in the present. Always being in the present really helps a lot because it doesn't take us to the past and rekindle all those memories and make us feel miserable. And it doesn't take us to the future with hopes and wishes that may not realize, then we feel depressed and all that. So the best thing would be learn from the past, hope for the best in the future. But when you are in the present moment, be aware of that. You know. And what do you think, Blaze? Those two, first two. Any comments?
I think you have a good point, Dr. Al, because these are the things that help you relax. Besides meditation, and for me, one of the things is taking a brisk walk or just a stroll in the park.
Yeah.
These are some of the ways that I personally try to avoid burnout.
Mm.
Um, so spending some time in nature, whether it's at the beach or in the park or hiking, whatever you can do in nature, that's usually a good way as well to
Yeah.
prevent yourself from burning out because you have a
Absolutely.
moment to be alone and calm the mind.
Absolutely. I talked a lot about nature relationship. I have videos I presented on forest bathing. You're absolutely right. But when you go to the nature also, how are you interacting with the nature? That's important. Okay. If you are walking and then you are involved in your own thinking in your head, that is not good, right? And then you want to be really receiving the sounds that are there emanating in the nature, like the falling leaves or leaves under our feet and all that, or you are walking by the river, the water sound. I think those things are important. What the nature is producing, like a symphony that are coming at us, sights and sounds. If we are really in the present and really connected with that, without really judging or making any opinions, none of that, just to be and then be connected with the nature that way, then that will be very wonderful. There's no doubt about it. We have to have extended. I think I talked extensively about our relationship with the nature. Blaze was talking about going into the nature. That's a very good thing. Not a lot of people doing that these days. So especially with all these electronic devices that we have around us, we can get lost in that mechanical world. So you got to get out and really reconnect with the nature is a wonderful, cheap, and best thing I think.
Yeah, that's a great point, Dr. Al, because one of the things, being present while you're in nature, it's
Yeah.
not about taking out your phone and taking all these pictures and say, oh, I'm going to check out those pictures when I
Yeah.
go home. It's about hearing the sounds of the leaves underneath your feet, feeling
Yeah.
the breeze on your face,
Yeah.
listening to the sounds of the birds,
Yeah.
watching how the trees dance in the wind, being present,
Yeah.
being
Exactly.
able to smell what that place smells like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good point. We have to make sure we see that because, like we said, with all these technical things we have,
Yeah.
we are busy taking. As soon as we see a bird, instead of stopping and observing the bird,
Yeah.
we want to stop and pull out our phone and take cameras and make videos, and that moment is gone. And it is not the same when you're looking at a video
Yeah.
or a picture. It's not the same as allowing yourself to interact with nature in the
Exactly.
present moment.
Yeah.
So that's the great point.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why this nature connection is very important lately. Actually, there was a segment in the evening news today, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. I watched the news before I came here. That news is kind of uh, what happened was a meteorologist came and she was telling about for 30 years they were having these negotiations among nations and they did not do much, and now they are worried about the extreme heat and all. She said somebody like me who follow every day is so depressing and so frustrating for us, but still what we can do, we have to do what we have to do. Even then, and now they are avoiding. Right now, if you look at it, we are kind of do so many things to reduce the carbon imprint, then we can avoid extreme heats. But still, people are not listening to that. So it's as important. That's why understanding nature, see what we are doing to it, and being aware of it, and at least contribute to our level, not to use more plastic, not to really neglect a lot of soil erosion or putting out a lot of smoke into the air. Whatever we can do it. So that's very, very sad to see the extreme temperatures is going to get worse. So anyway, I was doing these rooms on the burnout and stress mainly because I saw. more doctors are quitting the field and more doctors are committing suicide and all that, right? So I was kind of worried about that, and then that's why I intensified the campaign on how to really get to the measures of preventing burnout, not just for the healthcare workers, but ordinary people also. It was like that. So breathing deeply and being in the present, being the second, and the third one is kindness to somebody who is a random person for us. We don't know anything about them, but we just see them. They may not be able to walk across the street, or they may not be able to carry the weight that they have with them, or they may not be able to clean the stairs. Something, some occasion will come where we can see if we are aware in the present, we are aware of what's going on around us. We have so many opportunities to serve somebody or something in a kind manner. And that kindness shown to a random person actually feeds you inside. So that's the nervous system thing is if you are kind to yourself, that kindness pours out to the other people too. So just practicing that, not to gain anything, just to practicing that releases a lot of endorphins, really makes you feel, but you have to really feel kind, not to feel like, oh, I'm such a great person, I'm showing kindness to them. That's not it. It is just have to come naturally, basically being heartful, not calculating. Oh, I can show off to everybody. I can take a selfie. I can put it on the social media. That's not it. You got to have feel it and then do it. A lot of these people are unnoticed. They don't make a big deal out of it. They just feel it and they just do and go. And that is a very good system for you. To your neural system is much better. It won't produce the stress hormones, but it will produce the nice, happy hormones, endorphins, which is good for you in the long run. That's the third point. Be kind to yourself and to anybody else. And lots of times we may not be. But I'm not saying all the time you have to be kind. I can also get irritated if somebody says something. I get irritated too. But then I recover from that very quickly, and then I use my awareness to be aware of any problem, anything is there, can I go and solve it? Like, yeah, come on, this room. There also I can, like yesterday somebody came and he was really not behaving in a certain way. He was asking questions, he would not let us answer them. And then he was saying, oh, you are treating me like I'm not your friend. It's not that. He doesn't want to listen. And then he wants to say his own point again and again. And other people also are there. So I have to, take care of the problem too. So I didn't want to be mean to him, but I told him, actually, it is over the hour to 6 to 7, right? Then I had to tell him because I did have something engagement to 7:15, so I had to excuse myself. But that is painful. But people are there irritating. People are there like getting to us. Don't let that happen all the time. You may happen sometimes, but then if it is a habitually, you are losing cool, you are yelling at people and all that. If there is a reason, that's fine. If somebody is superstitious and coming here and telling you, you get irritated, that's understandable. If somebody is stuck with their own point of view and they will not let us go out of that, we say, okay, your point of view, my point of view, they won't allow it. They say, we're going to stick to this and you got to buy this, that kind of thing. So he was doing that. So we kind of, hello, Tina, welcome. So that is the third point, kindness, random act of kindness to random people. That means you are not doing with the intention of anything getting in return. Okay, then that becomes truly unselfish activity. A little bit, not too much. We're not saying that you have to be a saint and do everything like that. No, you do your job, but outside job or within your job, there will be plenty of opportunities for us to rekindle the kindness within us. It's naturally with us. We can. The more you do that, the more you will be able to do that. For example, I was in a airplane one time. I just got in. It was a very, very busy plane. Everybody is full to the plane, and then I was pushed from the back and all that because people want to get into their seats, right? I was getting up and then coming there, and in the middle there was this father was and looking at me straight and then gave me a very broad smile. You know, I don't know him. I never saw him, and first time. And he helps me to get my baggage is put in the cabins and all that, right? Upper bins and all that. I did that, and I was very pleased by the way he greeted me. See, that's what I'm talking about. He was, by his smile, by his looking at me and then gave me a hand with that, was very nurturing. You know, I really felt that kind of he has that equanimous love for everybody. You know, and then after I'm gone and all, somebody has come, he was doing the same thing to them. He was receiving. He has no business to do that, but he was doing that. So those opportunities always come, and then we have to use them, right? So that is kindness. Okay. Number three. First one is breathing. Second one is being in the present. Third one is being kind to somebody. And the fourth one is that we can do every day is to be grateful to what we already have, whatever we have. If we count the blessings, they used to say, right? That's a very powerful one, because the person who complains about not doing is not going to be very happy. But the person who is really celebrating whatever he or she has, and then really satisfied with that and going and achieving some things, he is much more happier than somebody is restless, unsatisfied, and then complaining that government is bad, environment is bad, or so many things, right? Um, very beginning in 80s, I had an experience in Chicago. uh, we were driving and going, and then we stopped in front of the toll gate. And there were so many people that are cursing that there's so much snow, so much ice, and all of that, you know. Then I thought, oh, we are not complaining. Why they are complaining? You know, he's cursing, he's doing all of that, you know. Then this principle applies there. Just because you are alive, you should be happy. Just because you have a job, you should be happy. Just because you are able to travel in a car in warmth, you should be happy. But if you don't see any of that, but you only see what the weather out there, even though they try to clean them, so they clean only so far. They cannot do everything when the snow is falling, right? But in the Chicago learned their lesson, and they are cleaning much better now than in 60s, 70s, when they had this reputation that they are not cleaning them. Okay, so that kind of thing is always there. So it's very simple thing. If you really sit down and then count your blessings, you will be happy for the things that you have. But you have actively remember and celebrate that within yourself. You know, that is wonderful there, right? And then if you can be happy with what you have, then you are coming from the abundance angle, not from the what I don't have. You can work for what you don't have. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, first of all, celebrate and appreciate what you have. And then after that, you want something, that's fine. Go ahead and get it. But then you are going to get it with a renewed energy, with a energy that is not making you feel like you are a loser. You're already a winner. And then you are going with that winning mentality and abundance. Sometimes things may not work out, but then if you are like that, you know, this is a big deal, because this was the principle in the ancient Bhutan, for example. They have this king, and Bhutan has the Buddhist culture, so they have this virtues, they call it, like a contentment, and also not going for external things. So they had all had same kind of clothes. So nobody can compare, though that person has more, this person nothing like that. They are doing very well in happiness index. That's what they established in Bhutan. And then when they measure that, how many people are happy in the nation, that was their gross domestic product. So gross happiness product they called it, right? And that was very high at the time. And then in 70s or 80s, I think, hi Janet, come on in. So all these people are kind of Bhutan had this invasion of internet, and the people who did not have much of addiction, much of drug addiction or diabetes or any of these other things that we are going through, they didn't have them. But after the invasion of the internet, all the Western culture flew in, they also began to buy all sorts of clothing. And it's not a fault, I'm just showing what actually factually happened. And then they become very unhappy. Their gross happiness index has went down in about few years, 5, 10 years, And then the kingdom now is still there. They're trying to balance both of them, the ancient cultures that they have and also the modern things that we are going through. Janet, I'm talking about 5 simple principles to be stress free, and started with deep breathing and being in the present and being kind to somebody. And now we are talking about being grateful to what we have, celebrating whatever we have, and then going to achieve. If you want more, that's fine. But then first recognize what you have. So in that context, I was telling about the Bhutan, which is a real case, which was gross happiness index was very high before the invasion of all this internet and everything into their culture, and they lost that too. So now it's all over the world, but we can examine, we can learn from it and temper it a little bit. So that is the gratitude. This is the number 4. Okay, and number 5 is just a smile. Smile every day. Smile as much as you can, and that is a very good indicator of all your endorphins. So people who really smile a lot and laugh a lot, they're much better. But you have to smile from within, though. You cannot just make a sound outside and the inside you're seething or you are revengeful or anything like that. So it's just how it comes out from within that's important. There is a famous god in India, and his Krishna. You might have heard of him. He kind of always had smile on his face. That was a typical hallmark of him. No matter what the circumstances are outside, he was accused of so many things. He was cheated. He was so many times people came on war with him. So many things happened, right? But always he will be telling everybody, come on, take it easy, take everything will work out, and you will be smiling. So they call that Chirudara Hasam. That means it's a slight smile, always on the lips, always smiling from within. So that is very, very healing for people too. And they cultivated that too because what the secret behind the smile was, he looked at everything like a play, like an actor playing the play. He is also acting, but actually his real identity is not really in the play. That is the witness consciousness. So his deeper meaning is there. But that is a very good example of if you look at his life from the childhood, from the time he was born. Actually, he was born to a woman who is in the prison because she happens to be the sister of that king. That king was warned by some soothsayers or astrologists that the eighth child of this woman who is going to born to that woman, she is the sister of the king, right? He is going to see that the king is murdered, is killed by him, right? Something like that. They predict. So he actually loves his sister. He celebrates her wedding and all. After that, when he comes to know about this prediction, he puts her and her husband in the jail. And every time she has this kid, like he comes and destroys the kid, kills the kid basically. So, but the eighth one, he is taken away to another place, and another baby from there brought in his place. he kills that eighth baby. He thinks that is the one, and he's then he feels very secure. But this kid, right after the birth, he's whisked away from that prison cell, right? And then he so many things come at him as a child. He encounters so many dangers, but he comes over. All that to show that he is the like a divine being, something like that. But whatever it is, his hallmark is he always had a smile on his face. So we always say, take it easy and let it go, and also come on, just laugh it off, something like that. But how many people are really able to, smile every day? They have to examine for themselves. And it's not a crime not to smile, but it's good for you if you smile. Okay. What do you think, Janet? What are these five things? Make any sense to you?
Yes, sir. I the gratitude is the one that I want to focus on.
Yeah,
I think that's most important because you can't be thankful and upset or thinking about something at the same time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a very important point because there was a saying somewhere I said, uh, by complaining, you are not going to get anything, but by really understanding the little celebrations and then living them fully, you will be really happier. And then also, you will always be abundant because you feel like you're already fulfilled. Actually, this was a big deal for me at one time because I was going through I told this several times. Sorry if somebody heard it before, but I will repeat that again anyway. There was this yogic folklore analyzing what are the powers of these yogis, how did they get so much memory, so much of intellectual capacity, so much of imagination, and created not only beautiful plays, poetries, and stories, but also real commentary on deeper issues of life with insights into the philosophy of the human beings, right? Uh, and that was extraordinary. Adi Sadguru, that means Shankaracharya, is a somebody who leaves home around 8 years or so because he's already enlightened. He goes to Himalayas and he stays there, and then he writes a tremendous volume of literature. But then he walks across India up and down several times, establishes these major centers of philosophy and all that. Like that, so many examples were there. I was perturbed. How is that they have so much capacity? Then one very learned person told me about their secret. What it is, you see, you guys are always going after something to be happy, to get something, and then you be happy about. That's the modern thing, right? We always go after pursuit of happiness. But those people, they were contented and happy with what they found within themselves. Not empty, but this is a big deal because you have to sacrifice some things. You have to sit down and go in yourself and then detect some things that are pretty nourishing to us. Fulfillment, complete fulfillment. Out of that, we came out as already fulfilled, contented human beings and produced uh, so much of volume of art and literature, sculpture, so many things. And you go and see those temples, see those articles and all that. That is when I turned around instead of thinking that doctor profession is going to get me a lot of things versus whatever that is there, fine, and I'm happy with what it is. And I was able to understand some of the deeper issues mainly because I can shut down outdoor activity and sit down. My best time is in the morning. Sometimes I get up. Last night I got up at 1:30 or so because I went to sleep early, I think. But then I woke up a couple of hours and read some things, and then I went back to sleep around 4:30 and got up again in the morning. But usually I get up between 4 and 5 or 3 or something like that. And then that's the best time for me because I'm alone and I can be alone with deeper understandings of talks or readings or whatever I do. And going deeper within, really forgetting the outward is a blessing, is really blessing. It's not just introspection, it's more of turning inward, leaving all that has happened so far and not anticipating anything in the future, being in the present, and then investigating your mind with your own mind. That is the turning inward means, and that is very, very useful for them. And they did that very easily because that was the culture, because these people were not frowned upon. They were given a lot of money, lot of food to really sustain themselves. But they never wanted a bank account. They never wanted an insurance account. Nothing. They just lived the day, and then that's fine. They are not worried about the future too. So they have such a psychological independence. They are called Maharajas. Maharajas means big king. They are dirt poor. They don't have any property to claim, but they are called kings of their own inner nature. It's a self mastery. So once you are in that, then you will always be smiling. Whatever situation it is, you will be smiling. You may want to do some things and all that because you are basically completely fulfilled within. So there's nothing to explore really, and they are so knowledgeable about everything. It's astounding to read some of those things now. Anyway, how does that smile thing appeal to you, Blaze or Janet, Jarani?
The smiling,
Smiling.
yes, I do that
Yeah.
all the time, even when I'm in a stressful situation, and
Yeah.
it does make me feel better.
Yeah. That's what it is. What about you, Blaze? I'm sure you do that too.
Yeah, I'm here, Dr. Rob. Yes, you know me, Dr. Rob. I'm
Yeah.
always smiling and laughing. And, I get that a lot at work where when I am not at work, the energy is it's different. So people will tell me, we missed you at work yesterday, or,
Uh,
I get that all the time because I'm not there laughing and smiling and dancing all day long. And it
See,
makes a big difference. Yes.
I remember when I went to Blaze in the beginning, I used to go to her room and I taught her something about keeping our mind clean. The slate, we call it the slate, right? It's a slate like you get a wipe off everything and keeping the mindset. So the question was, is your slate is clean? And she turned it on me and she was asking me every time I see her, Dr. Rao, is your slate is clean? And we used to laugh out together because we understood what it meant and what is behind. So we always, right, Liz? We always had a good laugh at that. And then
Yes, yes, we did. I'm laughing right now as you said that.
we, yeah, other people may not know what it is, but we both knew what it is, and we used to laugh at each other because this is what I was talking about, Janet. When you go to sleep, try to keep your slate of mind. Suppose you think that the mind is a slate, wipe it off. All the things that you have done that day and all the plans that you have for the future, write them down, but then forget for the night. So if you sleep on an empty mind like that, or at least a positive mind like that, it's a very, very good quality of sleep. That's the point, right? So that's what the monks used to call themselves. Sir, is your slate clean? That's what they used to ask each other, not good morning. So I shared that with them. And then Blaise caught that, and then we kind of remembered it every day almost when she asked it that question. See, this smile is, it could be wry, it could be something like you're mocking them, or it could be something like okay, this is a small matter, let's smile it off, let's not take too serious. And also, like a small child is doing something mischief, and you smile at that, like the people who are self-centered activity, selfish activity, or deliberately trying to harm you. And if you can smile at them like they are small kids, how much relief you have. you won't let the situation go beyond that. That kind of philosophy is there. And then there is laughter yoga. This laughter yoga is something I mentioned yesterday, I think. If you deliberately laugh aloud, and that motion of loud laughter creates wonderful emotions, and then also really helps your mind relax. So there are groups of people you will see on the side. They will be standing and exercising, but then this exercise is they'll be laughing aloud for something. We think maybe something is happening. That's why they're laughing. No, they are doing it as an exercise, as a yoga practice, so that they laugh it out in the morning, and then they go to work. So that's something I see all the time. Actually, I wrote something about that, and I should publish that on the laughter yoga. You know. So
Yes, Dr. All, that is very true because we also do that at work. I have another co-worker, her laugh is so contagious.
yeah.
And I will snap and then she will laugh and then I'm in retail. So then even the customers will
Hmm.
start laughing and everybody just start laughing. People are looking at me like, what are they laughing at? And then they just, so that is very true. It makes a big difference in your attitude when you can just laugh.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make a call and you want your voice to sound different and very friendly on the phone,
Yeah.
you laugh before you make that call.
Yeah.
Your voice will be so much more pleasant and soothing.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yes,
Yeah, I agree that totally. Because if you prepare yourself like I'm going to be positive no matter how the other person is, actually the call goes much better. But people says people do that, but then their laugh is not from the heart. It's more from expecting some good result of the sales call. Even the people on the Hilton or any of the major hotels we go, they're trained to laugh, but they don't laugh from their heart. They just laugh out of just showing off to them that I'm greeting you, the guest, and all that. If only the hospitality is really understood, and then they are heartful in their greeting, that would be wonderful. Actually, we feel that too. We can feel somebody is really showing a respect and love, or somebody is really uh, doing it superficially. We can see that, right? So, welcome, Rajiv Cherian. If you want to come up, please come up. We are talking about 5 simple measures to deal with the stress. Uh, So these 5 simple stress reliefs are really, you don't have to spend any money on that or any of your personal reputation. It's kind of just remembering them and make sure they are happening in your life every day. For example, deep breathing. I would prefer people do a good session of deep breathing with a variety of exercises that are defined in the pranayama of yoga. I kind of do 10 different exercises with my students, when they come. But then you don't have to do all of them either. If you pick up a couple of them, is a Bastrika, that is like a simple in and out deep breathing, and that is good enough to start with. And then if you do something like a Kapalabhati and Anulom Viloma, those are two technically very good ones, that is also very good too. Um, I will invite Rajiv also if he wants to come up and talk about it. Then in the workday, every hour I ask my doctor friends and everybody to take a breathing break for a minute, not more than that. Just breathe deeply and be aware of that. That means present moment breathing break. I gave a name for that so that they can remember that. But two things, not just breathing, but also being in the present. That's why present moment breathing break. So when you are deep breathing, you are focusing on the deep breath just for a minute, and you come back to the present sense that which you have cultivated in the morning. And then again, after you have worked out and you went home and you're about to unwind and relax and go to bed. These days, people don't do that. They watch some movie or something like that. But what I prefer is um, breathe deep at the time also. It will go a long way to preserve your health, to help you with your energy and all that, right? So that's how the deep breathing has to be practiced. And also, you have to really understand what happens with the deep breathing inside your parasympathetic nervous system, your organs, and all those things are affected. That's why it's important to do that. It's better to sit in a chair or on the floor and with your back straight. That's the only requirement you need. And then, if you have no disturbances around and you're just focusing on that, that will be very effective. And the present moment we talked about kindness, we talked about gratefulness, and we talked about smile. I think we covered them, right, Blaze? Anything else you want to talk about? See, one of the things in that corollary is the person who meditates episodically versus the person who is in meditative awareness will be more aware of these things, not as a habit, but just aware of these things, and they let them flow through their life. Not reading a class or not getting some instructions from somebody, but by themselves, by nature, they can feel the value of this and then make them not as a habit, but more like a uh, something natural they are doing it. The more inner cleanseness or inner awareness you develop, the more these things will be practical for you, and then you don't have to deliberately do them. So that's a little bit adding to the what is your nature. Some people may be very transactional, that they will do these things unless they get something, they won't do it. But the people who does them really do them without any expectations. They have transformation happening within themselves. That is the deeper thing. Surviving the stress and going through the all the turmoil that we go through is one thing, but then developing this inner resilience so that you will deal with this turmoil much more effectively because you're strong. That's why those yogis are called maharajas, because they are kings of their own self. Self mastery was their thing. That is what a lot of the scriptures that we already talk about. So it should be transformational, not transactional. You are not doing it just because you get some praise or you get appreciated, you are loved, or you are given devotion. That's not it. So if you do that, then with your own ego, you will suffer even if you do the good things. Other people may be benefited by your good things, by your kindness and all that. But what happens to you, that's one also you have to look into that. So that is a good way to come to a conclusion on this topic, Blaze, Dharani, Rajiv. Rajiv, if you want to come up, let's just hear from you. What do you think about all this? Tomorrow morning, social with Rocky. That's when I'm going to talk much more detail on this and also invite people. I think they have big club. They have a lot of people dealing with information overload and all that. Then we will see about that. Okay. Okay, then we are all done with that. We will close the room now, and we'll see you tomorrow again. Bye bye.